Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about something that might actually surprise you. Duck meat. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Duck is fancy restaurant food, right? Something you order when you're trying to impress someone on a date. But here's the thing. Duck might actually be one of the healthiest meats you can eat, and the science behind it is genuinely fascinating. Let me start with a story. A few months ago, I was having dinner with a friend who's a nutritionist, and she ordered duck. I made some joke about how she must be splurging on calories, and she just looked at me and said, "You know, duck is actually healthier than the chicken you're eating, right?" That stopped me cold. So I did what any curious person would do. I went down a research rabbit hole, and what I found completely changed how I think about meat. Here's the deal. We've been conditioned to think that red meat equals bad and white meat equals good. But duck doesn't fit neatly into either category. Technically it's poultry, but the meat is red, because duck muscles are packed with myoglobin, which stores oxygen. This is the same reason duck can fly long distances without getting tired. And this unique characteristic is actually where a lot of the health benefits come from. Let's talk fat first, because that's usually everyone's main concern. You might assume duck is fatty and heavy, and sure, duck does contain fat. But here's where it gets interesting. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that duck fat is actually closer in composition to olive oil than it is to butter or lard. About 50% of duck fat is monounsaturated, fat the same heart-healthy fat that makes olive oil such a superstar in the Mediterranean diet. Compare that to beef, where only about 40% of the fat is monounsaturated, or pork, which sits around 45%. But it gets better. Duck fat contains significantly less saturated fat than beef. 100 grams of duck breast contains roughly 4.2 grams of saturated fat, while the same amount of beef sirloin has about 6.5 grams. That might not sound like a huge difference, but when you're thinking about long-term heart health, those numbers add up. The American Heart Association has been pretty clear about the link between saturated fat, consumption, and cardiovascular disease risk, so choosing meats with lower saturated fat content is actually a smart move. Now let's get into the protein game, because this is where duck really shines. Duck breast is incredibly protein-dense. We're talking about 23 to 24 grams of protein per 100 grams, which is actually higher than both beef and pork. A comparable serving of beef gives you around 20 grams, and pork sits at about 21 grams. If you're someone who works out, trying to build muscle, or just wants to feel fuller longer, that extra protein makes a real difference. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality too. Duck protein contains all 9 essential amino acids your body needs, but can't produce on its own. The biological value of duck protein is extremely high, meaning your body can actually use almost all of it efficiently. This is crucial for everything from muscle repair to immune function. Here's something that really blew my mind. Duck is absolutely loaded with B vitamins, particularly B12 and niacin. A 100-gram serving of duck provides about 20% of your daily B12 needs. This vitamin is critical for nerve function, DNA synthesis, and red blood cell formation. A lot of people, especially as they get older, struggle with B12 deficiency, which can lead to fatigue, memory problems, and even depression. The niacin content is even more impressive. Duck gives you roughly 25% of your daily niacin requirement in a single serving. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Lipidology has shown that niacin plays a significant role in raising HDL cholesterol. That's the good cholesterol while lowering triglycerides. So you're literally eating something that could help improve your cholesterol profile. Then there's selenium. Duck is one of the best dietary sources of selenium you can find, providing about 40% of your daily needs per serving. Selenium is a powerful antioxidant that protects your cells from oxidative stress and plays a crucial role in thyroid function. A meta-analysis in The Lancet looked at selenium intake across different populations and found a clear inverse relationship between selenium levels and cancer risk. Now, I'm not saying duck prevents cancer. That would be irresponsible. But getting adequate selenium is definitely important for cellular health. Let me address the iron situation, because this is huge, especially for people who tend toward anemia. Duck contains about 2.7 milligrams of iron per 100 grams. That's heme iron, the type that comes from animal sources, and is much more easily absorbed by your body than non-heme iron from plants. Women, in particular, often struggle to maintain healthy iron levels, And duck can be a really effective way to boost iron intake without having to eat a massive steak. And if you like this video so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. Now let's compare this directly to beef and pork for a second. Beef definitely has its merits. It's high in protein and rich in certain nutrients like zinc, but it's also typically higher in saturated fat and calories. A fatty cut of beef can contain double the saturated fat of duck breast. Pork is somewhere in the middle, but it often doesn't match duck's nutrient density, especially when it comes to B vitamins and selenium. There's also the omega-3 fatty acid angle. While duck isn't as high in omega-3s as fatty fish like salmon, it still contains more than beef or pork, particularly if the ducks were pasture-raised. Omega-3s are essential for brain health, reducing inflammation and supporting cardiovascular function. Given that most Western diets are heavily skewed toward omega-6 fats, any additional source of omega-3s is valuable. One study from the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition examined traditional diets in regions where duck is commonly consumed, places like China and Southeast Asia, and found that populations eating duck regularly had lower rates of certain chronic diseases compared to populations consuming primarily beef or pork. Now, correlation isn't causation, and there are many dietary and lifestyle factors at play, but it's an interesting data point. The cooking method matters too. Duck skin is fatty, yes, but when you roast duck properly, a lot of that fat renders out. What you're left with is crispy skin and tender, flavorful meat that's actually not as calorie-dense as you'd think. Plus, you can save that rendered duck fat for cooking. Vegetables. It's literally liquid gold in the kitchen and healthier than butter for sautéing. So why isn't duck more popular? Honestly, I think it comes down to availability and price. Duck is generally more expensive than chicken, beef, or pork, and it's not as widely available in regular supermarkets. But if you can find it at a good price, or if there's an Asian market near you, it's absolutely worth trying. Look, I'm not saying you should never eat beef or pork again. Variety in your diet is important and different. Meats offer different nutritional benefits. But if you're looking to make a healthier choice, or if you just want to mix things up and try something new, duck is scientifically backed as a genuinely nutritious option that deserves way more attention than it gets. All right, that's it for today. If you found this useful or if it changed how you think about duck, go ahead and subscribe. I've got tons more nutrition deep dives coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.